Hello, my name is Dr. Sumina and welcome back to my channel. I'm a trainee integrative therapist and a families practitioner, and I thought that it would be really good to actually explore some of the signs and characteristic traits of an individual who experiences love addiction.
Everyone always says it's gonna be okay, but no one really knows that. That's just what you say. I just feel like it's a little bit unfair. I'm so overweighting. Like, when is it gonna be my turn? What did I do wrong? The thing is, I don't even want to be getting married or having kids right now, but I'm just starting to get nervous. What is wrong with me? I don't know why it's so easy for some people. I just feel like I'm never gonna find the person, if I even have a person. And I don't.
Number one is the overwhelming attachment hunger. Okay, so there is a real desire that needs to be quenched to connect and to attach. And this is a result of unmet childhood emotional needs. So whether that be due to neglect or major inconsistencies in the attachment with primary caregivers, whether that be as a result of the fact that they blew hot or cold, you just never knew when you were going to receive their love or affection. It leads to this. It leads to issues in understanding how to connect and attach with others. And if the dependence on your primary caregiver prematurely ends, or it was sadistically ruptured, and you didn't have the opportunity to attach, it creates this void within, because as a child, as a little baby, you are looking for the warmth and the affection and the care of your primary caregiver. Ultimately, there's an underlying need that every single human being needs, and that is to be loved. And when you grow up in a dysfunctional environment or a family environment that's not conducive to the emotional or mental health of the children, you automatically are operating in a deficit in your love tank. Okay, so whereby, let's say, the average love tank is like this, you've come in like this, but you're trying to find a way to expand this love tank through other people meeting the need, filling the void. And so you will find that actually through research it's been identified that if you have an anxious or ambivalent attachment style, there's a strong correlation with the need for the emotional dependence that is identified in individuals with love addiction. As a result, when you become an adult, you are trying to find someone, due to the traumatic drift in the dependency bond with your primary caregiver and the unhealthy rupture, to connect with and to connect with on a deep level. But the reality is that there are core beliefs that are also created out of this attachment hunger. And that is the fact that love is a scarce commodity. This is the core belief, that love isn't abundantly available. That love has to receive love, you have to climb mountains. You have to overcome several hurdles. Love is not just accessible and available. And what you find with individuals with love addiction or with anxious attachment styles is that they are looking for intensity over steadfast consistency.
This has been just the best summer of my life. You're the reason why. I never knew that two people could be so connected.
I think maybe we should take a break. You're like really dramatic and weird.
What? But I love you.
Bye, Rebecca. I'll see you around.
No, I'm not dramatic. I'm not.
Because they are accustomed to a lack of love in their personal relationships, they are willing to wait and hope. They're going to try harder to please, and they're going to work really hard to obtain the love. And what they want is that intensity, to fill that void with a sense of immediacy, as opposed to a steadfast growth in any relationship that they enter into. And that can reflect in so many different ways, whether that be moving in very quickly with someone, wanting to know everything about the person and trying to travel with them as soon as possible so you can gather as much data as possible and to experience the thrill and the highs and the biochemical reactions within the brain of dopamine and the excitement, so as to relieve the pain of loneliness, a lack of belonging, a lack of safety, a lack of security. Number 2, terrified of abandonment, absolutely petrified. That we all have a desire to connect and belong, and the majority of the population don't want to be abandoned. It's not a nice feeling. Individuals who experience love addiction are so terrified of abandonment and interpersonal ruptures that they become so hyper vigilant of any movement or deviation from the connection that they're in. So whether that be, I've sent a message to the person that I'm speaking to, they haven't replied a second later. The feelings of abandonment are so strong just in that minute incident, or in that small scenario that I've presented. It takes them way back into the experiences of abandonment in their childhood, and their feelings in the present are not actually proportionate to the events that are taking place. And so sometimes, you're almost sussing out for the closeness and the connections, the drifts, the distance. How connected is this person? Do I need to make more steps forward so as to ensure that this bond remains? It's a lack of boundaries. Nothing is too much. Nothing is too expensive. So long as this relationship is able to exist, that is what is important. So the core values that the individual possesses, the longings and desires, they can be put to the side somewhere so long as this relationship can be sustained. There is an inability to understand where you begin and where you end, and where the other individual begins or ends. There's a desperate need to control. And a lot of the times, due to the little security that was experienced in childhood, love addicts they literally mask their efforts to control people as being helpful. So they will do everything in their power to present as a very resourceful, all-encompassing individual who will help their partners thrive in whatever way. But really and truly, it's a mechanism to ensure dependence on them. So if they do as many things for their partner that will ensure that their partner is dependent on them, then they can ensure that their partner won't leave them. Okay, they eradicate and minimize the opportunity for their partner to leave them. Unfortunately, love has to be a choice for it to be love. It has to be an act of one's will. And as a result of the fact that love addicts are feeling so out of control and are experiencing a lot of impulsion within and feeling really dysregulated, to suppress the underlying feelings that are present, they position themselves as someone who is ordering another person's life and organizing and orchestrating and creating systems and order within the other's life, as opposed to internally within. Okay, which leads to a lot of self-blaming and placing a huge responsibility upon themselves within the dynamic, creating a dynamic that is not actually mutual, right? There's a huge imbalance of power, because if something is going wrong, or if the partner starts to become avoidant and they start to drift, then the love addict is constantly thinking, what did I do? What did I say? Did I play a part in why they're now not communicating the same way? Love addicts try to insert themselves in the dynamic so that there is no room for their partner to leave them. Okay, they're controlling that dynamic, whether that be through the intensity of communication, wanting to call and be at the forefront of their partner's mind, calling in the first thing in the morning, really trying to insert themselves in their partner's life so that their partner doesn't forget them or neglect them, right? And this brings me onto one of the number one characteristics or signs of a love addict. It's an individual who is heavily fantasizing, okay, and engaging more in the dream and the ideals of a person as opposed to the reality, okay. You know, the mind is an amazing tool. And when you are trying to distract yourself from the pain of loneliness, fear, and anger, you, like with the drug, in relationships, individuals are trying to avoid being still and facing the truly unmet needs within. So there is now the use of the mystical preoccupation, the romantic euphoria, and the storytelling and the fairy tales that we create about our object of romance, about the individual that we are in. And this creates the endorphins within the mind that opiates the mind from the pain that we are experiencing. The love addict is actually experiencing within. And so sometimes, you know, a love addict will come out of a relationship, and then they will be confused as to who they were actually in the relationship with. Okay? Because the person that I'm now seeing isn't the person that I curated in my mind, right? The person that I curated in my mind was meeting my needs, was you know, the person in my mind was on a pedestal. I was so, you know, you're so obsessed with them. You're so obsessed with these qualities and characteristics. And you'd almost take these crumbs about an individual's behavior and quality and personality traits, and you create a whole cake out of it within your mind. But when you separate from the individual, and with time, and once you enter into a sobriety, you start to see who this person really was. And they are not the character that you created in their mind. They are this human being with flaws, who have imperfections, who have their own traumas. And many a times they are reflecting the shadows, okay, within our life, or they are representing to us the kind of things that we long for within ourselves that we can't create. So whether that be a person that is more logical, more stable, more level-headed, and we long for that so much. We long for this within ourselves, but because we can't curate it, we idolize these features about them, disregarding the fact that they are completely avoidant, dismissive, emotionally unavailable, they're inaccessible, they're emotionally inept, they don't really like us sometimes. So these are some of the signs of and characteristics that we start to see with an individual with love addiction. And I would really love for the conversation to continue within the comments. You know, some of the signals that you got when you started to feel like you were becoming super obsessed with an individual or an object of your imagination, or with a relationship, and what was coming up for you in that time. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Please comment, subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.